Good morning and welcome to the Clashing Conferences podcast. We are your rotating members group. Gentlemen, say good morning, good evening to everyone. Give them a quick shout out.
What's up?
Howdy ho.
We are the rotating members group. We are the Clashing Conferences network. We are a network of sports fans, for fans, of fans, by fans. As you can see right now, we got two of the four of us, five of us in cars doing this. We want to make you know that you could do this from anywhere. So if you want to join our network, we are always looking for people to hop on, come say your opinions, even if they're whack like Tony P's. We accept all around.
All right. I see
So,
how it is, Patty the host. All right.
lastly, we'd like to shout out our sponsor, Sparrow Hair Studio. If you're in Lancaster, PA, check out Sparrow Hair Studio for your next haircut. Network members get an exclusive discount as long as you mention the Clashing Conferences Network. So if you live around there, you want to take a 7-hour trip to Pennsylvania, be our guest. Should be a good time. So, gentlemen, here we are, post NFL wild card weekend, no longer super wild card weekend. We're going to touch on the college football later for those wondering. We're going to start with super wild card weekend. Let's just get right down the line. Cody, you are the only member of this podcast who picked the Houston Texans. So start us off, buddy.
I had faith. I knew Stroud was going to get it done. You know, that's pretty much all I got. And honestly, it was probably a lucky pick. It was a lucky pick. I
I
probably
mean,
should have.
there's no such thing as luck, but you know, we'll see. I'll kind of leave this open. Whoever wants to take it, not really a directed question, but I know where I stand on this. But I'll let you guys touch on it quick. Where are we standing on the whole Herbert as a playoff quarterback issue that has obviously been going around the internet right now? What do we think, Mike, Anthony, Tony? Any thoughts on that?
I mean, it's a tough look for the Chargers. The Packers are in a similar situation. We're gonna get to them too, where it's tough to watch your team. You see flashes so much of like brilliance with like Herbert and Love, and you wanna trust that they're gonna get it done, and then they get in a big game, and it's just a completely different quarterback. It's crazy. Yeah, he choked. He was awful. That pass, I want to be the one to say it. That pass where he ran to the other side of the field and then threw it into double coverage on the other side of the field to completely destroy any confidence they had at the end of that half was brutal. It was brutal to watch.
Yeah, Mike, what do you think?
I think that I think Herbert in particular is a great quarterback. I think he doesn't
Good
have the weapon.
quarterback.
I do. I don't who look at who he's throwing to. Like who are those guys? He's got
They don't really
nothing
have
close to
anybody.
an all pro or even a Pro Bowl player out
Hey,
there at wide receiver.
Ladd McConkey was pretty good.
Okay, Ladd McConkey, you're right. He's been a beast this year as a rookie.
Come
But you
on.
can't expect a rookie to be out there in his first ever playoff game to be the guy. He did. He tried his best. He had like, what, 160, 180 yards, something like that?
98,
Well,
198.
Herbert's been in the
198? I
playoffs
knew it was a big
before.
number. But Ladd McConkey's never been in the playoffs
Oh
before.
yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, you're counting on this young kid to be your savior, and he did his damn best. But what are you going to do?
Yeah, I kind of fall on that side of, I don't know. I'm not calling the guy Peyton Manning, but I think we're pulling the trigger a little too quick after two playoff losses. And we talk about one of those playoff losses being a 27-point comeback where Brandon Staley just refused to run the ball he just refused to run the ball in the second half of that game last year, 2 years ago against Jacksonville. They don't have many weapons. I think they're a huge candidate to go get one of these wide receiver twos, and whether it's T. Higgins or Garrett Wilson via
Mm-hmm.
trade, I think they're a prime team for that. But definitely I'm on the side of I'm not ready to judge Herbert yet after two losses. But if you are, so be it. I can't not defend him. So I get it where you're coming from too. But
It's funny that you have that argument. I'm against that argument for the Chargers, but I have that exact same argument for the Packers. Like, we never have any receivers. We never have any number ones. It's all the GM's fault that we never signed nobody. So I think
That's
Herbert sucks, but I totally agree with your point. Like,
that's funny
Yeah.
because I have this exact opposite argument for Green Bay. Love sucks, man. He's a bum.
oh my god,
You know what?
Coming from a
I'm
Bears
gonna make
fan
the
is crazy.
executive. I'm gonna make the executive host decision. We're skipping to 4 o'clock on Sunday for right now because I don't want to talk about the Steelers anyway because they suck, and I'll give you a rant later
well we can
about
go
it.
back to that. We can go back to
But
it.
no, Tony, you've juiced me up too much. Tony P, start us off. Packers Eagles Sunday 4:25. Give us a lick.
Well, I'm gonna start it off exactly how the game went. Literally a fumble on the first play. Like, I don't understand why. Fair catch it. Like, you get the ball at your 30-yard line. If I was a head coach, I would say fair catch it every single time. It is insane. But I mean, Jordan Love. We start with the facts. Like, we were 1-7 against playoff teams this year. The team we put on the field is not good enough. We were lucky enough to get on the schedule. We had the AFC South, so we feasted on Jacksonville. We beat Houston. That was our big win. And then, like, we had the other two teams, the Titans. We beat them, and it was just we had an easy schedule. We won the games we were supposed to win. We lost the games we were supposed to lose, and
I
just
know I know
no,
one other
nothing.
game that you were supposed to lose that you didn't.
Yeah, well, we rested a lot of players. You guys got your first victory in Lambeau in 25 years.
We should have beat you
The,
twice.
the
There
block
was
field
a
goal, I
there
think
was a
Mike's talking
blocked
about that
field
that block
goal
field goal. Yeah.
that was a very
Hey,
makeable field goal. We should have beat you twice.
Patty, nothing's luck. You said it from the start of the show. There's no luck. They
Yep.
missed the field goal. We rested our players for literally no reason. Maybe we should have rested our players. But, yeah, rough year. And again, just the story of my life on this podcast. First round exit, just like always.
Yep.
First round
Anthony,
exit.
any thoughts
No
on Green Bay
juice
Philly
ever for
before we
me.
move on?
Say it again.
I was gonna say, what do you got any thoughts on that game before we move on? We kind of missed you on the last game.
Well, I mean, this one was just boring. We needed something before the best game of the week, obviously, and it was that stinker. The Commanders had to come in clutch and give us the best game of the week. As always, you're welcome. We're those
As
guys.
always.
We're talking about bad wide receiver twos and not good wide receiver cores. We have Terry McLaurin. De'Ami Brown had as many yards as him. The only
What?
person
Can we
that's
just go to this game now?
yes, because your game means nothing. How about
Oh
that?
my gosh, that hurts. Ouch.
Come on.
I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna let you rip Washington in a minute. My only point I'll make about Green Bay really quick is I kind of have the same argument for Love that I have about Herbert. I think Christian Watson sucks. I think that Dontavion Wicks is okay, and Romeo Doubs is okay, and they're good role players, but I'm just not convinced of their offensive skill, right now behind Jordan Love. Like, I saw Love last year in that playoff game where they beat up on Dallas, and I was like, holy crap, this kid's the real deal. And I know this game might have some people give second thoughts, but I think we're spoiled brats. If I'm going to be honest, I'm going to use that word. I think right now we are spoiled brats as far as the NFL quarterback level goes. We are in an elite era of quarterback play. An elite era of quarterback play. And that's what pisses me off about the Steelers because we don't have that elite quarterback. We are in such an era where we're reactionary. Oh, you lose a playoff game, you suck now. You win a playoff game, you're great. Like, Baker Mayfield was elite until Sunday night, and he still played pretty well, up until that fumble. So, Anthony, say your praises about Washington. You're up, buddy.
All right, first of all, I want to get this Baker great game out of here. He threw for under 200 yards, the 2 touchdowns. Okay, congrats. But the fumble, it was ball don't lie. There was a flag on Ertz that was not called. Levante David hugged him. Ball don't lie. We scored. I mean, what else is there to say? God was on our side on that field goal. I won't lie. Mike, I know you were thinking a double doink on that. Kind of was hoping for one that went in just because I could say that to you.
I
Um,
gotta go back to back shows with you and your father hearing about
hey,
doinks.
what you gonna do?
Yeah,
Hey,
I
but
mean, it's
Jaden
tough. I mean,
That
Daniels.
apple didn't fall far from the tree.
they don't
Hey,
call them
what,
the cardiac. They don't call them the cardiac commanders for nothing, right?
dude?
And they don't call them
My
the
heart
cardiac
was
commanders for nothing.
racing. It was so bad. Our only offense was what is it? Was JD. Terry had under 100 yards. Yami had under 100 yards. Ertz had barely anything. Zacchaeus had barely anything. Robinson was sucking as usual. Eckler might have been the MVP other than Daniel. That's how kind of bad our offense was. So I'm a little bit scared about the Lions. But if we have JD, anything's possible. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I'm sure we'll talk about them a little bit more as we get into our preview for next week. I'll go on a little Steelers rant here. You guys can chime in too. I know Cody's smiling to get after my ass a little bit. So, you know, it was just pitiful. It was just so hard to watch the Steelers that I love and grew up watching, and that's just not them. And the score was closer than the game reflects. They got a can of ass whooping opened up on them in the first quarter. Baltimore is very dangerous. I'll give them credit where credit's due. Anyone that doesn't love Lamar, and I'm not going to touch too much on it because I want to talk about that in the game coming up this Sunday. But that team is a wagon, and the Steelers have a lot to fix. But I'll go on record on the podcast. I don't think that Mike Tomlin is that thing to fix. But
Do you want
Cody,
him to come
thoughts?
back next year?
You want
Absolutely, I
Tomlin?
want him back. Absolutely, I want him back. 100%.
He's a great coach.
I think he's a good coach. I think Wilson's just not. He's not up to that level. I feel like anymore. I don't feel like it's not his type of league. I think it's time to hang the cleats up, dude. Go home to Sierra.
Yeah, I mean it's hard because I'm kind of at the point where I don't disagree with the people that are upset with Tomlin, but some of these teams that he's taking to the playoffs would be 4 or 5 win teams without Mike Tomlin. And I don't think people realize that. But then the counter argument is if you were a 3-4 win team, you probably have a replacement quarterback for Ben by now, which has been a big issue over the last 4 to 5 years. So I don't know.
The thing I don't like
But
about the Steelers is they're so undisciplined, man. Like they always get those personal penalties. The receivers are always like sorry, they're always complaining. Like I feel like there's no like that's what happens. They go down by 2 touchdowns and they're just playing angry behind. Like
yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. But Tony P, you're cut off from the next segment for swearing. See you later. Um,
Hey,
but Um, we'll roll right into Buffalo. Not much to say. I know you probably saw that Bo Nix was playing with a fractured back. I mean, that's a crazy thing to come out after the fact. And the way they started the
Oh,
game with a huge Cody, what's the Kentucky score? I'll interrupt my point. I have them.
48-38, 14 to go.
Oh, all right, they're fine.
We're up.
So, yeah, good. So, but I mean, Josh with not even another Josh performance, but just out there. Any thoughts from the crowd on Buffalo, Denver before we move on to the Monday night game?
I think Bills look pretty good.
the wagon.
I feel like they could win the next round. I feel like I like the Bills.
and they're playing the
Yeah,
Ravens, so that's going to be a crazy game. First of
oh, it's
all,
gonna be a phenomenal
we'll get
game. I
into
can't wait
that
to talk
later.
about it.
But
I can't wait.
The Broncos were not ready. I don't know why people were like they're a sneaky team for this. No, they weren't. They weren't. They don't have the defense. They're not consistent enough on defense, and Cortland Sutton also isn't consistent enough to carry the offense. Troy Franklin had the only touchdown, and I saw somebody
Yeah,
bet on that for the first touchdown of the game. Like, what the heck? But that's their
yeah.
type of receivers.
I think they're another big time candidate to trade for Garrett Wilson or T. Higgins in the offseason. Like, there's a lot of these teams that Chargers, Broncos, even like, I know they weren't that great this year, but like the Panthers, there's going to be a lot of teams that are going to be gunning for a big time. Patriots, I know, are in the mix for T. Higgins. Like, there's going to be a
mm-hmm.
lot of teams gunning for that wide receiver one, wide receiver two. And I definitely think that Denver showed that they're ready to move to the next step. And I like that for them. I don't know if they can compete with the rest of the big dogs in the AFC. Mike, what do you think?
I keep thinking T. Higgins is going to get paid as you go through those list of teams that need wide receivers
Yeah,
because
for
he
sure.
is a
I agree.
massive talent. He's a true free agent, I believe, so he can walk to anybody he wants to walk to. All those teams are heavy wide receiver needy, and he's going to get some money. He's going to get a bag.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And on to my trust of the week, gentlemen. I told you, why was Matt Stafford a
Was quite
home
a call.
underdog with Sean McVay? Like, I just did not understand it. Obviously, that we saw the Sam Darnold we thought we might have talked about a little bit last week, but I don't know. Mike, Tony P, they're in your division. Thoughts on Minnesota moving forward here after this? What do we think?
I'm not going to talk much about Minnesota, but I will give you props for your LA Rams call. We just did the NFC East show a little while ago, and all four guys on that show had picked the Vikings to win in our confidence pool competition. So you took out the whole crew on that show with your Rams lock of the week, and it's not lock of the week. What are we calling it? I can't remember
Trust.
already.
It's fine. Lock of the
Trust,
week's
your
fine.
trust of the week. So that's a hell of a trust.
Tony P,
Yeah.
thoughts?
I mean, first off, classic Vikings. Like, just classic Vikings. Always lose. I picked the Rams too, not for the fact that I think Stafford's old and washed up. It's just classic Vikings. Like, you knew they were going to come in. All week I saw they're the first team to be 14-0 playing in a wild card game. 14 wins. I was like, they're going to lose. They're going to blow it. They always blow it in this spot. I love it. Mike, I know you love it.
So
It's a division
yeah, I
rivalry.
do love
Boom,
Like,
it, but Tony, I gotta ask you. You were just talking about Oh, I lost my thought because what happened with Cody?
boom, boom,
You lost your
boom.
thought because Kentucky basketball took a 15-point lead instead of a 12-point lead. So Cody's all
We just
hyped up
I
over
forgot
there.
how that works here. But I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that, Tony.
sorry,
I'm
guys.
sorry.
All right, Cody,
Sorry.
you better have a good football thought now. You're on the spot. Let's go. Finish up Rams,
Uh,
Vikings now.
the Vikings. It was like some of the most embarrassing football I ever watched in my entire life. Yeah, it was just that. It was more of like I just sat there and watched it with my mouth wide open, just like, is this really an NFL team? It looked like a high school team just getting murdered. It was
Yeah, I
horrible.
mean, it
It
was
was
tough to
embarrassing.
watch. It was tough to watch.
Sam
For
Darnold
sure.
sucks.
I remember what
If
I was
they
gonna
pay
say
him,
now.
they are so dumb.
Tony, you were saying that it was typical of the Vikings to go out like that, but you had just been talking about it was typical of the Packers to go out like that.
Packers, Vikings, they're all the same thing. All the
Yup.
Be
same
an
thing.
NFC North
They
thing.
really are. They are. Lions are gonna blow it too. Don't worry about that. Lions will
Oh,
blow it.
I
Don't worry.
disagree, but we're gonna. That's a great
Uh-oh.
transition, Tony P. Is we'll transition right into our picks and preview for the week. We are on to the divisional round. What I think is the best round of football. Just some better matchups across the board. So we're gonna go around. We'll go like we did last week. We'll preview each matchup, and then we will also give our picks live because we haven't written them down yet. We will also reveal the week one scoreboard. Actually, we'll do that right now. We'll insert graphic. We have three people in the Clash of Conferences that are tied with 5 correct picks from this weekend. That would be 1, Cody Gentry with 5 correct picks.
Boom.
1, miraculous producer Steve with 5 correct picks. And I'm absolutely blanking on the last one, so if my video goes dark here for a second, the last person is 1. Am I back? Am
I'm
I back?
back.
Who it?
Okay, I'm
You're
back.
back.
So, sorry, I was checking the scoreboard. The last person with 5 is Anthony P. Tony P. with 5 correct picks from the weekend. So those are our top 3 going into week 2. Mike, start us off.
Look at
Saturday,
look at this
3:30.
show. All
3:30.
three guys leading are on this show. That's impressive.
Love it.
Well,
Love
I
it.
mean, it's one competition to be kicked out of the other competition, so it doesn't matter. There's like I gotta get in the championship competition somehow. Like,
Yup.
And I gotta say one more thing, Patty. In your intro to this, you were talking about divisional round, better games. I was talking about this on the last show. Not the case this year. We got 3 of these 4 games that actually have pretty big spreads on them. So Vegas doesn't believe we're going to get great games this weekend. We'll see what happens. And that first game is Saturday at 4:30. I think it's an easy win by the Chiefs, though.
All right. Mike's officially picking the Kansas City Chiefs. Cody, Who are you thinking in that game?
I'm drawing a blank on who the Chiefs are playing.
You're thinking
Houston.
Texans.
Texans.
Houston.
Chiefs. Yeah. I mean, I hate the cheaters, but I think the cheaters will win.
Tony P,
I
right
do.
down the line. Who do you like? Any insight as we go
Can I
through?
say Texans plus 8.5 or no?
Nope.
No.
It's just a pick 'em pool.
Well, then the Chiefs are going. Yeah, definitely.
But
Anthony?
noted, Tony, for my weekend notes, that your comment is
Well,
noted.
Mike, weekend notes, 5 to 10. I got them at 10 points right now. The Chiefs
Love it.
never
I would
cover.
I would
I
need at
love that
least
for you.
14 to feel comfortable.
Anthony,
Chiefs
what are your
never
thoughts? Anything?
cover. They don't play to cover.
I'm just taking the
They
Chiefs.
don't.
They're stupidly hot, and the Texans play stupid. C.J. Stroud was my fantasy quarterback, and he blew this year. Absolutely horrible. My last pick in the draft was Baker, and he was better. So I have literally zero faith in the Texans.
Yeah,
But
I
can I
mean,
say this though?
yeah,
There's
go for it.
always the teams who have bye always come out flat. Like you don't think one of these teams are going to come out flat this year?
It's going to be
That's
the
a good point,
Lions.
Always.
Tony.
It's going to be the
Ah,
You
Lions.
think okay, all right?
I
yeah,
would
I
love
mean,
to see the Chiefs get eliminated.
I'm gonna stick with the Chiefs. I picked Houston as my bust last week, and that busted me up against the Chargers. But I mean, I think people just in this era of hating Patrick Mahomes for no reason, I think that people tend to forget just how good Steve Spagnuolo's defense is, just how young they are, just how much they fly around to the football. Give me the Chiefs for sure. And then that'll lead us into Saturday night, which I believe is the Lions Commanders. I will say I'll start, and we can send it around. I think this will be a great game. I'll probably, uh, touch the over if I had to pick something, but I'm going to say Lions all the way. They're my pick to win the NFC, but I think that Washington, the cardiac run ends here. Not that they're not a good team, but I don't think they're quite at that level of Detroit yet, but we will see. Anthony, we'll start right next with you. Right to your thoughts.
I'm just excited for the game, first of all. Dan versus Dan. If it's anything less than 4th and 10, they're going for it every time. There is going to be 0 field goals. Zane Gonzalez is going to get no more kicks. It's going to be awesome. It's just going to be JD and Jameer Gibbs because Goff can't run. But, I mean, I got to take us. I mean, come on. We're hot. After that last win, JD can literally do anything. That's all I'm going to say.
I mean, I love the confidence. You got to have it. You got to have it, especially as a fan. Tony P, where you going?
So I mean, I could totally be screwed on this because I'm the total opposite of this. I think the Lions are gonna kill them in this game. I think my thing is just it's a rookie quarterback. It's tough to just go in playoff games and just get wins like that. And if he does it against the Lions, I mean, good for
He's a
you,
real.
Anthony.
If
I
he does
just
that,
I see the ball. I see him having a bad game, and on top of that, I mean, I kind of think I don't know if I can say the P word on it. I kind of think your coach is a P word compared to Dan Campbell. Like
I don't
between
like
those
him
two
either.
guys, like
He's a Cowboys coach. Don't worry, I don't like him at all. But he's coaching my team right now, so he can do anything he wants.
Yeah,
So,
for
like,
sure.
come on.
I mean, I don't know if anyone can compare to Dan Campbell in that category of set of stones. So I don't know if it goes the other way at all. But Cody, what do you think? Who you picking?
I'll use a little Dan line. I think they're just going to come out and bite Commander's kneecaps off or whatever he said. Right? He said something like that. Right?
Yep.
Bite the kneecaps off. Right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Lions
I
for
would love.
Cody. Love it.
I would love to see Commanders win. It'd be cool. But I think I picked the Lions to hit the Super Bowl. So Lions all the way.
All right, Mike, wrap up your NFC hate. Pick the Lions. Get it done with.
I will eventually be right on this. I've been shouting it for weeks, and one of these days I'm going to be right. The Commanders are fraudulent. They should not even be in the playoffs. They're not that good. I don't know how the hell they keep winning all these games. Lions are going to whoop them. But if the Lions don't whoop them, here's my prediction for the way the Commanders could win. Dan Campbell ain't that good of a coach. And this whole I'm more confident and crazier than anybody else is going to bite him in the ass eventually. I see him going for two or going on 4th down in a situation where he shouldn't have done it, and they lose the game because of it. So that's my potential upset prediction of the week.
I
Yeah,
could
I
see
But
mean,
that.
that makes the other coach want to do that too, though. That's the thing, though.
No, it doesn't. Not a good
It
coach.
messes with their
A
brains,
good
dude. The
coach doesn't
Commanders
watch
are
a
gonna do
dumb
that.
coach do a dumb thing and go, I should do that too.
Yeah.
I think it's more along the lines of like they just want to do. You talk about being your authentic self, like you're authentic when you coach. Like be true to your philosophy and be true to what you
He
want to do.
definitely is.
And you can hate that if you want. And I agree it could eventually burn them. I think some people think it did last year in the NFC Championship when they passed up the field goal and ended up losing by three to San Fran. So, I definitely understand that point, but I think it's kind of about being authentic to yourself. But so we're picking Lions across the board except for Anthony. That leads us into the other NFC game. I'll go last. We'll go back around the other order. Mike, start us off. Eagles, Rams. What are we thinking?
That's an easy one for me. Going with the Eagles.
All right, Cody, what do we think?
Yeah, since they screwed me last week and beat Vikings, I'm going to go again and go against them again. I'm going Eagles. I'm going Eagles. The Rams has to choke.
Tony
I'll get
P?
it right.
I want to choose different. I really want to choose different, but I gotta go with the Eagles on this one. I don't think the Rams. I think Stafford's gonna be too slow. Like I just don't like that he's so slow. I don't know, it kills me.
Anthony?
I got the same thing. The Rams are just. I think they were hot obviously against the Vikings, but the Vikings were just so bad. Was it really that the Rams were playing that fantastic? So I think it runs out
I
here. The
mean, they
Eagles
had the
beat.
most sacks in NFL history, tied for the most sacks. That's
Yeah, I mean
scary.
their defense is I mean their D line especially is super good. Um Give me LA. I think it's gonna be
Yeah, there you go.
I think it's gonna be
Woo!
a hell of a game, man. I think it's the game of the week, except the AFC game is right after it. But I don't know. I'm a big McVay guy. I'm a big McVay believer. I think that if the Eagles win, and they very well could, and if they're going to win, they're going to have to do what I talked about with Green Bay, where they're just going to juice you out and they're going to suck the life out of you and they're going to run down your throat, and they could very well do that. But I think that the offensive play calling paired with somewhat of a light offensive showing from Philly last week, if the Rams kind of come out and strike first, I think they definitely stand a great chance like they did. And I love McVay in ahead situations. He's not stupid. He knows what he's doing. I'm a Sirianni hater, not a Philly hater for sure, just a Sirianni hater. So I'll take McVay slightly with the Rams and roll that right into what I think is the game of the week. And I'm not even going to say it because I can't say it because it's not the segment yet. See, Steve, I'm learning. But I will take the Buffalo Bills over the Baltimore Ravens to close out the weekend. Anthony, what are you thinking on that game?
I'm gonna roll with you. I just don't want to see the Ravens win because I think Baltimore is literally just going to implode if that happens. If they go anywhere close to the Super Bowl, Baltimore is going to be absolute chaos. So I'll just go Buffalo because it's always chaos there.
Tony, Pete?
I'm going with Baltimore. I picked them to win the AFC. I think Lamar's gonna do it, and I honestly like again coach to coach. I like John Harbaugh. Or yeah, it's John Harbaugh, right?
Yep.
I like
No, I
him over
definitely don't
Buffalo's
disagree with
coach.
that.
Mm-hmm.
McDermott. McDermott.
McDermott. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree there. Cody, what do you think?
Well, where did Lamar go to school at? Louisville. So
Uh,
it's L's
Whoville.
down. It's L's down. And I'm going to take the Bills because Lamar
I love
sucks.
it. I love it.
Mike, what are you thinking?
I think that this is not just the game of the week. This is the game of the year for me. Um, I think that this is the Super Bowl matchup, in my opinion. Whoever wins this game, I think is going to win the Super Bowl. And I think I like Baltimore. That's who I'm gonna pick here tonight. I'm not gonna put my money on that until I see if Zay Flowers is gonna play this weekend or not. I think that's really important that Baltimore has their number one receiver. Their wide receiver core is not that deep. It's pretty well documented, and I think they're gonna need him to beat a team like Buffalo. But we'll see. I'm going with the Ravens for now.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the best quote about this game before we get into Buster Trust. I saw the best quote about this game of all time and says, I can't wait for Lamar Jackson versus Josh Allen. One quarterback is going to get a pivotal win, and the other one is going to be called a fraud for the next 36 hours on social media. So, I mean, there's just no other way to describe it. This is the biggest game of both of these quarterbacks' careers so far, and I'm super excited. So, we are on to Bust or Trust. You're going to pick your biggest bust of the weekend, and you should pick football, but you could pick Louisville like Cody, and I'll allow it. And your biggest trust of the weekend. Who do you love the most? If you had to put your money where your mouth is, who do you love the most? We will go with busts first. I'll start us off for busts. My bust of the weekend is the Houston Texans. I'm going to stick with them. They'll probably score me again, but I just think Kansas City stays hot. I think their defense is phenomenal. I think they roll. Mike, who is your bust of the weekend?
I was just gonna try to look this up real quick. Does anybody know? I think Buffalo favored by a point and a half? Am I remembering that right, Tony? You
I
got it,
had
Yeah,
him
bro.
at
they
a
are.
pick
Score's
'em.
-1.
They are.
So I would really like to pick a favorite as my bust. Um, and that's the closest one I got. So I'm gonna use Buffalo as my bust.
All right, fair enough. Cody, what are you thinking? I'm going to pick Louisville again to lose this weekend.
No, I'm gonna go with everybody else. I'm gonna pick football this week, but it has Louisville connections. The bust is the Ravens.
All right, Tony P.
I'm going with the Commanders. I think we're going with the rookie quarterback. I think they have no shot to win against Detroit.
Fraudulent.
0.0% bust.
Well,
Bust.
Anthony, I would guess that your bus is going to be Detroit, but I'll let you tell the people anyway.
No, it's not going to be. It's actually going to be It's going to be the Ravens with Cody. They are cold in the playoffs. That's all I got to
All
say.
right,
They went to the.
I like
Are
it.
we forgetting they went to the AFC Championship last year?
Yeah, but they look terrible in
Lamar's a
that AFC
joke.
They
Championship,
don't
so
look
who
good.
cares?
They lost by one touchdown.
Yeah, but they didn't run the ball, so who
What are we
cares?
talking about? They were like one pass interference play away from winning that game. What are we talking about?
The year that Lamar can make a complete sentence and you can understand it is the year that they win the Super Bowl. It ain't happening. It ain't happening.
You're bad for
All
that,
right.
Cody. You are bad. All right, we'll go to our trust of the week. You got to lock in one pick. You love this team. You love what they're doing. We'll go reverse order. So, Anthony, who you trusting the most this weekend?
I'm just going to pick the Bills because I bet against the Ravens, but I think that the Bills just absolutely put it onto the Broncos. They put the pedal to the metal. They didn't stop, and that's what we needed to see. We needed to see them go out and win a clean football game, and they just murdered them. And I think that the Ravens, they played the Steelers and they looked good, but again, the score was closer than it could have been. So we'll see if that happens and affects the Bills because the Bills are hot. I think scoring a lot of points,
Absolutely.
especially.
Tony P, who's your trust this week?
Okay, guys, I really have to go after this point. After this point, I do not mean to. I'm not picking these teams to be a bad person or be a hater, but there is no way Notre Dame beats Ohio State. No way Notre Dame wins that game. I'm picking Ohio State to be my pick of the week for sure.
All right, see you later. Bye. Have fun
Drop the
at
mic
work.
before you
Bye,
go.
Enjoy the rest of your
Drop the
day.
mic.
guys.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Cody P. Cody, who do you think?
I'm trusting the Lions. I think I got to. I picked them for the Super Bowl champion. I got to ride the wave. The Lions wave.
Fair. Mike?
I'm gonna trust the Eagles. I think that O line's gonna be a little bit too much for the Rams to deal with. I know that they've had some good numbers this year, but that Eagles line is massive.
I mean, I'm gonna trust McVay again, man. I know it's a dog trusting, and that's kind of a bit of a anti what the segment's about, but I just love them to upset
Mm.
Philly this week, and that's not. I think everything you're saying is true, Mike. I think their offensive line is phenomenal. I think they can squeeze the air out of you. I just don't think it happens this week. I think for some reason, LA gets up early and they kind of take the jaws and they go with it. So that's our bust and trust. That's our picks for week 2 of the NFL. But we got about 6 minutes left here. Of course, we're going to talk about old Notre Dame, baby. Of course, we're going to talk about the high flying, jetpack riding, beating Penn State Nittany Lions, Notre Dame, baby. Let's go. Let's preview the college football national championship. Anthony, start us off. What do we like?
I
What do you think?
I hate to be that guy and just poop on your parade, but I am going with Ohio State. Will Howard has been my favorite quarterback for a few years in college football. Being a TCU fan, we play against him all the time. When we went to the championship, the only reason we didn't have a loss in the regular season was he got hurt in the game against us, and their backup came in and lost it for him. If he played, we would have lost and not been there, and Kansas State would have had a chance at the playoffs. So I
Yeah,
love him. This team is insane. Their running back duo is ridiculous. And then there's just Jeremiah Smith on the side, too. Like, it's just unreal.
yeah. I mean, I don't disagree with anything you're saying. Cody, what do you think about this matchup?
I'm on the paddy wagon. I'm going to pick Notre Dame. Ohio State's got to burn out, right? There's no way that they played in the regular season the way they did, and then they just come in and win a championship. It's got to burn out. I feel like it's Notre Dame's time, and I don't like Ohio State, and I would like to see somebody, that's usually not there win it, especially for the first playoffs. Yeah, I think it'd be cool.
Absolutely. Mike, what are we thinking?
I'm sorry, I'm not on the paddy wagon. I'm on the bandwagon with the majority of the rest of the pickers here. Going with Ohio State. I think that Notre Dame has had a hell of a year. Honestly, I just don't think Notre Dame has the same level of, not the same level, the same number of high-end talented players that Ohio State has. Ohio State is stacked at every position with five-star recruits and talents every single year. And Notre Dame, as good as they are, I'll tell you what I really like about Notre Dame, and I'm not trying to steal them from you, Patty, but your head coach is awesome.
Oh, he's
And
phenomenal.
and my Bears are interested in him. I don't know if you've seen that, but there's been talk about the Bears trying to get him, and I would love that. I don't
I
think it
think the Bears
happens,
should
but I
just
would
stick with
love
Ben
that.
Johnson and leave Notre Dame alone. But that would be my thoughts. But I mean, it's hard to disagree with Anthony and Mike here. Ohio State is very loaded across the board. I think people forget to realize that even with Jeremiah Smith, like Emeka Egbuka is going to be a late first round
Yeah, yep.
pick, and he is a first round talent. Judkins and Travion Henderson are both NFL Sunday players. Their defense is loaded. But I mean, obviously, I'm going to pick Notre Dame. I'll give you some reasons. I think that we talked about this with Riley Leonard, is that Riley Leonard is not the guy that's going to win you a game or lose you a game, but he's going to do everything in his power to try and win you a game. And that's going to happen sometimes where he's going to make those mistakes like we saw. But there's no team in the country that plays for their coach more than Notre Dame plays for Marcus Freeman, period. And that's all I'll say.
I
I,
agree.
I don't I don't hate Ryan Day, but there's no way those Ohio State players are there to play for Ryan Day. They're there because they have the best chance to go pro from Ohio State. There's players at Notre Dame right now that will go pro because they played their balls off for Marcus Freeman, and they want to be there and they want to do this. So I think that's just the only point I'll make, is that seems like a factor that I think can help. I don't know if it will. Obviously, I'm going to take Notre Dame, but this pod is split on that. Maybe not as much as we're split on the NFL. So, want to say some thank yous. Thank you to our producer, Steve. Thank you to everyone in our network. If you'd like to join our network, please, please, please come talk with us. We'd love to have you on our rotating members. We'd love to have you in our chat. Uh, Shout out to our sponsor, Sparrow Hair Studio. And last but not least, God bless football. God bless America. And God bless Notre Dame. See you later, folks.
I'm literally going to give you the play-by-play on how you would participate in this podcast in less than 15 seconds. Here we go. You download an app. Our content producer, content manager sends you a link. You hit the link. You record, and usually within 30 seconds, unless you have COVID internet, you're done. That's it. You do nothing else. Steve does all the work. He stays up late at night. He does the editing. App, click it, hang up. The end. So,
That's
again,
it.
I understand people don't want to take on any more work than they need to. You're not. So just keep
There
that
is
in
no
mind.
work. This is fun time.
Yes.
Sometimes a little bit of extra
Fun
work,
time.
maybe if you want to be the host. But if
Big
you just
facts.
want to be a team rep, come in here and talk about your team as easily as you talk about it with any one of your friends or rivals.